We are. There we go. We are live. It was slow doing that. Weird. I see that Tom has a new handle now. Tabletop reporting. Uh-oh. So, folks, welcome to Gamers Health. I am Erik Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. Badly in need of a haircut. I say that every week. But these rainy-ish days, even the ones that don't turn into rain, uh, mess with the hair. And the woman playing with the hair off screen right now and complaining that she needs to clean it
Oh
is
no, I
Rach.
need to also get a cut, but
But what?
we'll see when that happens.
So let's see. Shadow, Zach Laser,
Oh,
Tammy.
see, look, it's
I,
all.
you see, you see, the wife isn't happy with the way she looks.
No.
I'm so sorry. John Miller, welcome. So, Ed, thank you for joining us. Before we delve into today's topic, Cancellation Nation, my God, I haven't had so many PMs and emails in the last I don't know 24 hours since the OGL fiasco hit last year. This is certainly something that's going on that people are talking about. Um, was this a week with any doctor's appointments? No.
No.
Look at that. None for us. My father had an appointment we had to take him to, but
Mhm.
there were no doctor's appointments for us. So God bless. Go with God. Thank you. Um, we've done a little experimenting with like pasta salad. I made a pasta salad with a low carb pasta last weekend. I must say, it tasted even better after sitting in the fridge for 2 days.
Right, I got to marinate.
It was pretty damn good, and it was actually no meat, right? Not even
Yeah, it
chicken in
was
that one.
meatless. It was.
Meatless,
We
yeah,
had mozzarella cheese. That was the protein.
yeah. It
Mhm.
came out very very good. You can again. I'm on a low carb diet. This was a low carb pasta. Low carb pastas tend to be more al dente than a regular pasta. Uh, for whatever reason, I don't know. It's okay. Um, and what else did we make that was a little off the beaten? Oh,
Oh yes, we made some cauliflower fried rice
yes,
with chicken. Um, the the rice came from the
Lidl.
Lidl supermarket, and so that was the first time we were trying that, and it was really good.
It was
And then we upped the amp by
well, two things. Rach doesn't realize this, but I used the low sodium soy sauce that we have, which,
yeah,
and then we
we
also
would do that.
okay, and we used,
Um, some chili crisp that was made special
and I thought, and I'll
by
be
a
the
special friend.
special one. I thought chili crisp was going to be crisp, crisp. It's like a jam or a jelly kind of, but it is flavorful. It is.
Yeah, it infused into the whole thing and made it spicy and like just and it's not just like spice, like there's this interesting depth of flavor because I've never had it before because I tend to be sensitive to spice, so like I flush out or like, you know,
Hey, you didn't flush.
yeah, or like I've had it where like my mouth will go numb. But you know, uh, we put it on in a good amount,
Yeah,
so
which
it was
and when,
tasty and like you could feel the spice, but like you could still taste and like you just wanted to keep going back for more.
yeah, it was home. It was homemade by
Yeah.
a friend of this channel,
Hmm.
a friend of ours, and she did a great job making it. Swear to God.
Yeah,
So,
it's amazing.
um, our Gardein, we are sprouting the some of the next things to go into our Gardein.
Hmm.
and that's exciting. But the plants that we currently have are sucking up water more. We put 3 gallons in yesterday.
We did, yeah.
All right, I gotta get another gallon. It already
Oh my
said.
God, it is sucking it
They are
dry.
sucking. They are sucking up the water. But the strawberries are looking. Oh, I gotta pollinate strawberries after this. By the way, don't let me forget.
Mhm.
Yeah, the trials and tribulations of an urban indoor gardener. So, but we've been enjoying that. I'll probably make one of our meals tomorrow will be some lettuce off the garden.
Mhm.
Excuse me, I got the bird cheese. So, other than that, the weather has been not as ass-biting cold, but it's been damp. It's been wet, but we've still
Yeah.
been trying to get the dog out for walks.
Yeah, that's been great.
In between my dog, she's a Dachshund. She does not like the rain because the rain means that she gets wet on all sides. When you
Right.
take
She
her
doesn't
out.
want it on her face. She doesn't want,
The belly,
like she'll do okay with like the belly a little bit
a
and
little
her
bit.
feet.
Yeah.
But like if her back is wet, if the water's going in her eyes, she's not happy.
Yeah. So we've been lucky. We've gotten some decent walks in, which means we've gotten ourselves some decent walks in.
I went back to lifting my
Your TRX,
my dumbbells.
Oh, your dumbbells.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, like it's good. I went back to the 10 pounds so that I can build my way back up because I hadn't
She
used the
retreated
weights
a
in a
little
little while. Yeah, so
Rach is healing up. Her tenderness, her redness from the radiation is virtually all gone.
yeah, virtually all gone. No more open wounds or
Yeah.
Blisters or anything like that. So yeah, I've been happy to be active again. So
yeah, so
we'll keep doing it.
Indeed. So I think that our niece is over, but
she might make an appearance. We'll see.
She went down to have some more French fries as an after dinner snack. The appetite of youth. But she liked our planned topic for tonight and was interested in, because it affects all ages and all communities.
Yeah.
So
it does.
Just to catch up on comments, John Miller just finished DMing a solo PC session through B1 in my Greyhawk campaign. It didn't go well for the players. That player, well, it sounds like a TPK of 1. And Shadow and Sun sounds like a nice peaceful week. It was a nice peaceful week. It was not so Shrek, not so bad as we say. So I guess with less outside events going on, we didn't. I had thought about doing some baking this week, low carb baking, of course. I didn't. It was in my head. It didn't go anywhere beyond my head.
Oh, we have that chicken in the fridge, I guess.
We're gonna make the chicken in the fridge tomorrow. Yeah, we just defrosted it.
Maybe we'll just grill it up we'll broil it up or something.
Yeah.
I think it has like Italian seasonings or something.
Italian seasoning. I think it's chicken breast that was cut into strips. So yeah, that should be fun.
And that'll be good for salads and stuff for the week.
Ooh, even better. And we.
Oh, you have this open. I'm like, why am I cold?
Oh, I'm sorry. I had it open because it was stuffy last night. The heat was kicking. This room was retaining it.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
Shadow, we had soaps for dinner, and I am stuffed. SOP. KS soaps. Soapus. It sounds like a Tex-Mex, American Mexican food, I guess. I do not know. John Scott, hi from Toronto. I'm guessing.
Not soups. I don't think it's soups.
No.
Sopa. I think sopa would be.
John Miller, my wife's best friend, was just diagnosed with thyroid cancer. She's not turned 30, if I recall correctly. You can bet I'm praying for her.
Yeah. Of course.
Cancer. I'm a cancer survivor. and I'm also a heart failure survivor at this
Yeah.
point. You can't. You can do a lot of things to lessen the odds of getting cancer, but you can't be perfect in not getting cancer. And cancer treats everyone equally, which means it doesn't treat anyone equally.
Right.
Uh,
As you learn more about your cancer.
right.
Yeah, as you get your.
It's an equal opportunity offender.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, young or old.
Mm-hmm.
You could live your life as a non-smoker and get lung cancer. You could be a multi-billionaire. We've seen this,
Mm-hmm.
and get cancer and not survive it, and
Yeah.
then you can be somebody from a meager background and get a very lethal cancer and still be around kicking 20 years later. It's one of those things that they understand very well and don't understand much at all.
Right.
So I will pray.
Yeah.
I pray every night. It's a habit of mine since I was a little kid, and my prayers have changed. But part of my prayers is I do pray for this community and people in our community, and I will continue to do so. Shadow. It's a Mexican pizza with a fried masa crust.
Ooh.
Kind of like a really thick tostado.
Yum.
Oh, wow, that
Yum.
actually sounds pretty good. I gotta say, now I'm getting more hungry. We actually had Popeyes for dinner tonight. My parents picked up Popeyes so we could sit down with
Yeah, sit down with the
niece.
kid.
And of
Eat
course,
like a family.
eat like a family. With the boarding house reach, everybody grabbing the food.
Yeah.
But so all right, we're gonna dive into today's topic, right? Cancellation Nation, right? Cancel culture within tabletop RPGs or within our community. And why are we talking about it? Because there's an article, and I linked the article on today's earlier video. I don't know if I did it on for the live stream. I will certainly add it afterwards if I haven't. Paul Bigby. That article was quite thought provoking and quotation worthy read. Thanks for the pointer, bartender. Yes, it's a it's an excellent article with an obvious bias. All right, and I'll touch on that briefly. And I'm gonna use my and I've already used this on the previous video. I use this frequently because there's some I don't know. There are members of the gaming community that consider me an apologist for Zach Smith, for Zach S. I am an apologist for Zach because I say he's written some of the most amazing work in the hobby that I have
You
read.
give credit where credit is due.
I give credit where credit is due. And I will not call him an offender of what he's accused of because he's never been brought up on criminal charges. Criminal charges have never been filed, let alone taken to court. So I refuse to refer to him as that. And because I refuse to, I am considered an apologist by some. So I'm going to explain to you this wonderful relationship I have with Zach. I would not cross the street to piss on Zach were he on fire. I, personally, through my interactions with Zach, going back to the G Plus days, consider him to be an asshole. I'm sure his feelings about me aren't much different. Okay? He certainly didn't like me, my friend Greg Christopher. Greg was the Pope of the OSR because
he was the Pope? I didn't know.
Yeah, Greg was the Pope of the OSR, and I was that fucking cop. So I have no love for Zach. All right. That being said,
how is that derogatory? Like, how did he mean the Pope of the OSR?
I'm sorry. By the way, Zach Glazer, if you were on fire, I'd happily piss on you. Okay. Just, it's got to be a valid reason. Either that or I'm intox and standing next to you at a urinal, and in which case, dude, I'm sorry. Shit happens. But you were saying, Rach, before I got rudely interrupted by Zach.
Yeah, what does that even mean? That he was the Pope of the OSR?
Oh, so Greg was the Pope of the OSR because Greg was talking about morality.
Oh.
And he probably told Zach that Zach had no way he could stand on morality for anything based
Okay.
upon his background in the porn industry.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah. So now, my experience with Zach, and I'm not talking about anyone else's experience with Zach. Everybody has their own. My experience with Zach, going back to the G Plus days, was that if Zach felt that he was losing an argument, he would delete all his comments. So now you had a thread that made no sense because he would say, "I was never in it. I was never involved in it," because you couldn't read what he said. So going to the recent past in 2023 on this very channel, I did some coverage of one of his lawsuits, and he commented on it, and I commented, "Hey, Zach, you're welcome to comment on this channel, but are you going to return the same favor? Are you going to unblock me on social media and allow me to comment on your side?" And his answer was,
I guess not.
to remove his comments. So, I mean, this article that you read from this woman, and I I think it's a well-written article.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can certainly see her. I'm married to someone with a master's in social work, a
LCSW.
licensed clinician,
Licensed clinical social worker.
licensed clinical social worker. I've married one, and I read the article. I thought because I just couldn't. When you
yeah, she was amazing explaining how certain personalities
yes
function and breaking it down so that people could understand that and understand how that impacts someone's ability or maybe relationship with the truth.
Well, yeah, and that was referring to Zach's ex-wife, which I think. Listen, there was a lot to take out of that article. I've read it straight through once, skimmed it a second time. I need to go through it a third time.
Yeah, and yeah, there's so much in there. I think, and thank God she wrote this. I think it's amazing that another social worker could come in and be able to
investigate
this stuff and try to get a handle. What's the truth here?
Right.
And that's all the questions were, and she found certain truths that are very uncomfortable about cancel culture, whether it's applied to the OSR, whether it's applied to any other media or any other type of community.
Paul, I had hoped the author would examine all the behavior from the frame of a purity spiral, since it seems like a textbook example. Well, and here's my again, it's a good article. Don't get me wrong, and I'm going to tell you that. But I'm going to also say, take it from the perspective of somebody who is looking at it and seeing some bias from the author.
Sure. Yeah, you can always, it's always you look at these things with a critical eye. But the whole fact that she wrote this article, I think like that's pretty courageous from where she's coming from.
Right. Certainly. Now remember, she pulled the article, I think, the same day that she released it.
But still it was a courageous thing to do, to be able to shed light on how cancel culture works and how the frenzy sort of runs away.
Yes. So
and makes it unsafe for a lot of people.
It does seem like the author had a presupposition what would be found. Well, and I think that's the reason why she includes in the article a lot of direct quotes. I know Grim Jim, I haven't got a chance to listen to it yet. He has a 15-minute video up of the audio that's attached to this article. I'm going to listen to that later tonight. I suspect I'll be doing a number of videos on this one. A number because aside from our live streams, I don't think anybody wants to hear me talking about a topic longer than 10, 15 minutes at a pop because I'll get parched and I'm old. So, I'll wander off in the wrong direction. But she came into this. She found when you read the article, she gets all excited when she talks about how she found the one victim that was like the perfect victim. And one thing that she leaves out is that, yeah, Zach is the perfect victim because a good portion of the gaming community considers Zach to be an asshole. I know I do. I know others do. But other people love him.
That already left him in the one down position
Right.
to be someone that they could sacrifice or
Right.
whatever.
So once these accusations came out against him, people who were possibly prior on the inside of the Zach circle, because that was a safer place to be, and maybe it was better for their careers as creatives, saw this as an opportunity to freely strike out, that he was in a weakened position. And listen, Zach can fight his own. I should say Zach. I don't want Glazer getting involved in this, but Zach Smith can fight his own battles. He's a very smart, very well-spoken, articulate individual who should probably have been on a college debate team. And
if he
wasn't, but he loves to debate, which is why when he loses, he loves to delete. So that's frustrating when you.
Oh, what does that mean? What would it be?
What?
How will him losing the debate?
He will do if he's.
How would losing present itself? Is what I mean to say.
If he has to admit that he's wrong, if his position is the wrong position,
and there's isn't it that there's
not?
Is it a way? Does it have to be a wrong position?
If
not just different.
No, if you disagree with Zach, you better learn to agree with Zach, or else you are wrong. But if you are wrong and getting support for your stance because you are right, then the still things that get deleted, or at least his half is going to get deleted, and people are going to go wondering, who was Tenkar arguing with? I mean, now he sounds retarded because he's talking to himself.
Oh yeah, okay, it looks funny because
it used to happen fairly often on G+. It still happens, but that doesn't make him.
I just don't get.
Yeah,
that it's. He'd have to.
That
he would have to apologize for having some different opinion.
No, it was nothing about that. It's I think, and I can't speak for him, I think it's all about the pride of he's more knowledgeable than everybody else. He's more intelligent than everybody else, and therefore, if somebody else can compete in that area, then it becomes embarrassing.
Oh, okay. So he's a little more fragile in that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shadow, I saw Total Party Kills video earlier than most of Jim's 2 long-hour video. I personally have never seen this behavior. I don't know most of these people. I've only encountered nice, welcoming folks in this hobby, in this community. All right, so let me give you a little background for folks. I dealt with a lot of this shit back in the G+ days. And people speak fondly of G+. And when I was on G+, I liked it a lot too. But I will say G+ was fucking toxic. Okay? And people on G+, this is where a lot of these names in this article that I haven't seen in the last half decade or longer.
Oh, they're not doing much of much?
Well, they aren't active on Facebook. So maybe they're active on maybe I'm not very active.
Like they're not writing games.
Oh, they still are, but they're they're not doing OSR stuff. They're in the indie games. Oh. But these individuals are individuals that I remember having, discussions with back in the day, and they were more of the we're right, you're wrong. Mm-hmm. These people when Zach was liked, he was liked by them because they felt that he was on their side. And once Mandy and what are you doing?
I was just trying to stick the thing.
It won't stick.
I
It's gonna
know.
slide down. Once
I'm finding
once
that out.
once Mandy made public accusations against Zach, they saw their opportunity. Um, Again, I don't like the man, but I've never called for cancellation. I've never called for anybody to be unpersoned. I've never said, "Oh, don't ever." Zach Smith writes great stuff, but don't ever buy it again. No, buy his good stuff. Don't buy Vornheim. I'm sorry, that's just my personal thing. I think it's crappy. Um, yeah. For shame, they're writing bullshit games. Exactly, but they are creative. But when you read their quotes, and again, I have to listen to the audio, but when you read their quotes, they're cringeworthy. And I've been speaking with people in the gaming community. Um, Again, my PMs have been going crazy, and I think the most insightful comment, I'm not going to name the person, was they said to me, and this is the person that initially sent me the article. I hadn't even, and I, foolish me, I wasted like 4 hours before I even read the article. I was like, oh my god, that's too long. I'll get to that later. I went, oh my god, this is a rabbit hole. But this person who sent it to me says, you know, I was initially like, what the fuck? I can't believe it, but it's true. To what the fuck? I can't believe it. Is it true? And it becomes how are people this damaged?
Yeah, that's
That's
definitely.
that's really what it comes out to.
Well, and that's the thing. She exposes all that damage and what it can do,
Yeah,
and how dangerous that damage can be. Because like that person's already damaged, and they're, it's like the ripples on the water when you throw the pebble in, and now
right.
it's affecting all these other people. I guess maybe whatever
Well,
trauma. Or...
one of them, and listen, besides the fact that I'm not going to be quoting names because I don't remember them, um, but I don't plan on naming people on this one. One of them even said, "Well, I'm kind of like a follower. Like, I just believe what I'm told." And then
And no, I'm
goes,
not really one to investigate or check it out or whatever,
"Yeah,
or see how that person moves or whatever.
right."
Yeah.
So now a few things, and this is again, I've spoken to other people in the OSR. I mean, Zach was a big personality in the OSR. He mostly though got attacked by, I don't know, indie gamers, story gamers. Maybe some of them are OSR. I don't know, but Zach had problems with and issues with a lot of people in the OSR that never tried to cancel him. And I know of one person, again, not going to name names, that was interviewed for this project early on, but they weren't used. Why? Because they were probably too boring. But the other thing is,
Shit.
well, because they didn't have the drama. Their drama was, yeah, he's an asshole. He thinks I'm an asshole. We think each other are assholes. Well,
But we go our separate ways, and that's it.
Right.
We block each other, and that's about the extent of it.
Right.
All right, like yours.
Yeah. So you look at that though, and I'm going to make an observation. And I'm making this observation because the author puts this observation pretty much in front of you. And I think I know why, but here. The author states that she's a lesbian. That and the price of tea in China matters to me not at all. Doesn't affect how or why she wrote this. She's a lesbian. That's great. But then she identifies all these harassers of what winds up being Zach Smith, and they are all either lesbian or transsexuals and trans individuals. And it makes me wonder if she got these people to go on record because she was like, "Oh, I'm one of you. This. Let's just talk about this.
Oh, you mean like she?
I'm not just a gamer. I'm also a gamer in more than we connect on more than one social group, more than one identity.
What, like that they share a similar intersectionality?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm wondering because she makes a point of mentioning that she's only got like one cisgendered white male as was part of this harassment ring. I don't believe that harassment is gender related or such necessarily. Although I know Mean Girls, I know the movie's out right now, Mean Girls 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
Paul, I always get a bit cognitive queasy when people have to press their bona fides. Well, I suspect the reason why she mentions that she's a lesbian is because she realizes as she's writing this paper.
Wait, she mentions it in the article?
In the beginning, like the first paragraph,
okay.
or second paragraph.
Okay.
I'm sure she mentions that because she realizes, might not have read that to you at that. I was probably reading silently until I started going, "Oh my God." But then I think she realizes, wow, all of these harassers, all of these subjects are lesbian or trans. And I think she realizes that and has to go back. Oh my God. I happen to don't accuse me of singling these people out because I happen to be one too. And I suspect she was expecting that kind of, well, why is it that the only people that attack Zach are there's other people that think he's an asshole? Now, she also makes it pretty clear that Zach is not an asshole, which I find to be amusing, and I find that to be a bit of the are we trying to expose the assholes and the cancellation nation, this cancel culture in gaming, or are we trying to
and the straight up lying that happened because of it? Like the one lady, she was saying, "Yeah, I totally lied. I just thought it was the right thing to do," kind of thing, you know.
But it blows my mind that
and now I feel kind of bad about it, you know.
That RPG.net changed their rules for their forum to allow lying.
Yeah, that's
because if you lie for the right cause, because listen, I have had fucking shit said about me, and I'm not just
me too.
No, I'm not just talking about somebody from
some asshole. Yeah.
So
like that.
Some asshole who like, well, you know, I called him a. No, I'm talking about when a year ago when my group announced, "Hey, we're going to do a live play of Shadow Dark," and somebody in one of the communities is like, "Well, is this appropriate for this Nazi-aligned individual and Nazi-aligned friends to be pushing this game? Should we even support Shadow Dark?" I'm a fucking Nazi? No, but
that guy.
But somebody has to say. And by the way, I know the individual's real identity, but somebody has to say this because they start the whisper network. You don't need proof of this. And we saw that with Zach. Okay, with Zach Smith, you don't need proof.
The accusation was just enough.
Yep. And I'll be honest with you, if you read the comments on today's earlier video, there was one person going, "Well, if he was accused of it, he must have done something wrong." Now, little background for those that don't know my background. My background is that I spent my last decade as a supervisor in internal affairs for the NYPD.
Yeah,
I don't
think that was ever a good enough explanation.
No,
you know?
But I saw a lot of false accusations. Listen, I saw a lot of dirty cops. Don't get me wrong. But I also saw a lot of false accusations. People that were upset that they got arrested and they were going to drop a dime on a cop. They didn't have, the stories were preposterous. We had angry wives because their
their
husband cheated which I'm not advocating, mind you. But then the angry wife calls up and makes the accusations of spousal abuse, and there's no record, and there's nothing. But you got this cop now modified for a year, as and the wife finally goes, "Oh, it never happened, but I was upset." This is what you see in this article. Well, yeah, it never happened, but I thought it was the right thing to do, the right thing to say, because he's a bad guy. No, he's an asshole. He's an asshole. The world is full of assholes.
Assholes and abuser is different.
Yes. Yes. Cal, I listened to most of the article read by Grim Jim. It's not easy to listen to. That's why I'm not reading it. There was one point in that article where I was like, "Oh my God, I need to start plotting this shit out, because it's so and so who was the ex of so and so who's now with so and so, accuse a different so and so." I was like, "Oh my Lord, they eat their own." And that's something else about cancel culture, by the way, folks. If you have,
well, it's there's always somebody who's next,
right?
It's not just we're just going to do up these ones. It's like that gets old and they get done and that changes, and then they choose the next thing to hit on, and
right,
because it's going to be one of us.
Once a piece is taken off the board, it's no longer exciting. Zach was essentially taken off the board. Zach's ability to create, to publish, he got, again, he was convicted of nothing. He was accused of nothing in a criminal court, yet he got removed from Drive-Thru RPG. So he can't make money off those products. And yeah. And that's, being removed off Drive-Thru is like being removed off the shelves of Amazon and whatever Barnes and Nobles are left and Borders. I mean, it's all that and one. John, being called a Nazi is really a bad insult. It usually comes from people who don't know the history of World War II.
Right.
Exactly.
That don't give the word the,
yeah,
respect or fear that it should really have.
Right. In my family, my mother's side fought the Nazis on the American side and the Japanese. And my father's side, my father spent a year plus in an SS prison, not a prison camp.
Your grandfather.
My grandfather. In an SS prison, not a camp. The man was about my build, my size, and came out under 100 pounds. All right. And that was because he refused to be conscripted. So I understand the Nazi atrocities. It's part of my family history. My family was a victim of it on my father's side. So to be called a Nazi, it's really
extremely hurtful.
Yes, and I was actually surprised that one of my biggest beyond not beyond criticizer, but beyond being one of my critics, one of the never 10 car people, even they had to go, listen, that's a step too far. Like,
never 10 car,
never 10 car.
Is there such a thing?
I don't know. Never 10 car.
It's your own thing. Okay,
it's my own thing, right? Just let me absorb it. But I mean, I remember, again, going back to the G Plus days, somebody who's still fairly active in the OSR community told me that I abuse my authority and influence within gaming, within the OSR. I was like, what do you mean? Well, yeah, I abuse it. Well, I abuse it because I'm not using it to influence others for the greater good. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? It means that I wasn't taking on a political mantle. I wasn't trying to take on a political agenda. I talk games. And therefore, my influence, my authority, is not being used to push an agenda. And therefore, it's being misused by not being used. And that is kind of the first time I understood, wow, I've got people that want to cancel, or not just jealous of whatever influence I have, but want to cancel me out of gaming the OSR because of not sharing their political views, not not sharing any of my my political views publicly because I don't believe it has anything to do with gaming, and it shouldn't have anything to do with gaming. But as we get into the election cycle, I think we're seeing this. We're going to see more of this cancellation culture shit popping up, and I don't want to be offended when I say this, but most cancellation, when I was younger, cancellation was a right wing thing to do, right? You always had, oh my God, no, we got to boycott. We got to boycott that they've got the was it the Piss Christ painting or whatever it was, boycott. The right was boycotting things because
they were boycotting like that Christ movie.
The Last Temptation of Christ.
Yes.
So that was something that
Madonna's
videos.
Yeah. Yes.
This was something that the right did, and at some point it switched.
Yeah.
And now the left is using this as a weapon, but not against they still do it against corporations, but they use it against people now. And they mob up against people, whether it's actors, whether it's writers, whether it's influencers. If you step out of line, and Zach, again, was a very pleasant target for some because they already didn't like him.
Yeah.
And it's in that article too.
Yeah.
People were like, well, she was asking people, well, what exactly? He's just a. Well, yeah, well, explain to me why you felt you needed to cancel this one. And I'm paraphrasing. It's like, well, because of everything. But nothing to do with what he was accused of.
Sounds familiar.
Yes. Paul, welcome to the Purity Spiral. And standing up for people's right to have their own opinion is also a valid stance. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But, what's that saying? I don't have to like you to defend your rights to be you. I don't have to agree with you and what you say to fight for your rights to say it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as a cop, especially in the late 90s, there were a lot of, not even just protests, but there were rallies that were anti everything that I was.
Yes.
I'll put it that way. Mm-hmm. And I actually took pride in the fact that we were able to keep it safe from outside influences and let them say what they were going to say.
Their day and
because that's a right that Americans should have. And
just like you'd expect yours to be protected.
So that's another thing with cancellation that I think that if you look at it closely, you will see is that the people often advocating for cancellation have things in their own background that would make them candidates for cancellation. It's almost like they want to cancel
they're
others.
Putting all of their nasty shit on that one individual.
But also,
he's going down and then it's going to be good.
Well, not only that, but it's look at him. That way you're not looking at me.
Yeah.
Don't
look in my backyard, look at his.
Yep, Ed, the original attack on D&D. With the same type of religious and political agenda, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it was coming from the right, and it's weird how things turn around, and
the same tactics get used.
Yeah. And they're getting used, but not against
what they need to.
Well,
not that they're not
getting used against corporations as much,
right?
Although corporations fear it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they certainly fear it. But they're getting used against individuals because with an individual, you can shut them down, you can make them poor, you can ruin their livelihood with a cancellation. And that's what's happened to Zach. again,
And then that just
not,
reinforces more of the, you know, discord among
yeah,
groups and why people can't come together.
again, I don't have to like Zach. I'm not gonna say, yeah, let me sit down and have a beer with this guy. I don't, let alone be in the same room with him. To say, yeah, Red and Pleasant Land is probably one of the best pieces of RPG material I have ever read. Certainly in the top 5, maybe the absolute top 1. I don't say that lightly. Uh, I don't have to like the person to say that. There's a lot of people in history that are kind of vile is too strong a word for Zach, but there are people with real vile background in history whose creations we still enjoy and are allowed to enjoy. And this cancel culture, it's been tried on me. Don't get what we've spoken about. There's still attempts to to cancel me, but the issue with me is I don't create for money. Right? These videos earn me like, I don't know, $60 a month of that. I'm not doing it for the money. I do it for the love of the community, and I do it because I enjoy it. I have a pension, okay?
He's like, I fuck you, money.
Essentially, right?
I
It frustrates people that would love to cancel me that I am not doing stuff for money because they can't threaten my income. You can't. I'm sorry. So it is not. That's not the situation with Zach.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the effects on, Rach. Look, I got.
Oh yeah.
Then the thumbs up was over your head. Hey, can I do that again?
I think. Oh,
There
you
we go. So it's.
If I do it with my this hand, will go the other way, or will it only do?
Doesn't like you, Rich.
It just doesn't like me.
Oh, there it goes over my head.
All right, good. So it goes. This.
It goes the opposite head.
The two hands. Yeah.
Paul, differences in policy approaches should be welcomed in an open, inclusive society.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good in theory, but the reality is, whoever feels that they're in power are going to make decisions that will try to keep themselves in power, and whoever feels they're not in power are going to try to make decisions that they feel will get them into power, and then power.
So the powers that be are not creating safety and inclusivity in our society by any stretch, no matter how much they talk about it.
Right, and
no matter how many DEI projects, you know.
So now, and part of the issue with the Zach thing, and we're going to dive into this just briefly, is that it is part of what was, and you don't hear about this as much anymore, the Me Too movement, right? Which was the believe every woman. And women can lie just as easily as men. And I'm not saying that women go out there with the intent to lie. But to say, I'm going to believe every woman over every man is an imbalance in reality. It just is. You believe based upon the evidence that you are given and the validity of the source, and you vet it. It's kind of like the reality of science, right? You're supposed to question science. Well, as a police officer, as a supervisor of detectives, I questioned everything because you wanted to get to the truth. You didn't want a preordained decision or answer. And this with Zach is a small clique of people, a small group of people that they pretty much decided on their own that they were going to destroy somebody's life. Again, the article it's a long article. Don't get me wrong. It's an interesting read. Go into the article with that grain of salt that the author wants to rehabilitate the image of Zach Smith. And I'm not saying his image doesn't need some rehabilitation. However, trying to pretend that he was never an asshole and is never an asshole um, is almost like a bridge too far for those of us that know him.
Okay, so you're like, we can believe it, and we can, incorporate this information and understanding, as long as the representation of the man is real.
Yeah.
Okay.
I,
Yeah, I
again,
got you.
you can like, yeah. Is he an asshole? Yeah. Is he
Is he an abuser? No,
no,
we've never seen
no,
any kind of like
no.
abusive behavior. Um, like he'll disagree and he'll like lay out a case. He
He'll be a
might be
jackass.
belittling, but not
Right.
outrightly
Right.
abusive, and
Right.
like other people that.
You know, again, I think the perfect word to describe Zach, if you are not within his circles, is he can be an asshole. I've known many assholes. I've worked with many assholes. Didn't stop me from working with them, right? It didn't mean, oh, they're an asshole and somebody just made a complaint about them. Well, they're an asshole, but now are they a criminal? Well, one does not necessarily follow the other. Or, wow, but that person is so nice. He'd never steal $1,000 out of the cash register. Good luck on that.
Mm-hmm.
Saw that too when I was in retail. So you can't judge somebody's potential criminality as to how necessarily as how they treat others, because sometimes it's a show, and sometimes
And
people are just
sometimes they're okay people, but make shit decisions.
yes. So I mean, you got to take it from that. Like, but again, I cannot stress this enough. It's an interesting article. It's a good article. It is not something that you take as saying it's without bias. There is certainly bias. Tammy, I'm literally reading the article now. Why in the world would some of these people answer the way they did, knowing it was going to be published? It makes me question motive. All right,
Right. It makes you question: did they know that was
so,
the end game?
right. So Tammy, now I'm gonna throw this out there, and she mentions in the beginning of the article. Correct me if I'm wrong. That this was going to be like a research paper. And then she figured she put so much work into it, she wanted to make it publish it as an article.
I mean, it is a lot of work.
She felt it needed to be shared amongst the greater population. I'm paraphrasing.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to get to your question about motive. Why would these people identify themselves? Well, remember this article was taken down, I believe, the same day it went up.
That was what, 2 days ago?
Yeah, yesterday.
Oh.
So it went up and it went down, but the internet never forgets. So somebody made sure it was found fairly quickly. There are a number of questions that could be asked, and I have no inside information. I am not giving legal advice or legal insight. The question becomes: did these people sign releases?
Right, to be known to the public.
I don't know. Now, if they did sign a release, was it specifically for the research paper? In other words, sure, you can use my
that they
name.
were voluntary subject. It's weird because I'm like, that's a different kind of research altogether. Like she's doing like a research into, I guess, what the factual nature is of this like relationship between these people, and what's documented, what's not, and all those things. Not necessarily like, like which you like when you do research, people have to agree to being a subject in your research. So,
but not only a subject, to be identifiable.
And yes,
if you're going to identify, now she does have two that are known as Anonymous A and Anonymous B.
Oh, okay.
So that would lead me to believe that there was some kind of release involved in this.
Yeah.
However, Was the release solely for the research project? Did that release not include going public? I don't know. Here's the other question. And again, we don't know why it was taken down.
And maybe she was afraid of her own cancellation.
Well, here's the thing. When it went up there, and again, I'm not speaking, I am not an attorney, so don't take this is me spitballing. But it could be that there were statements that she's quoting people with their names attached of them committing activities that could potentially lead to
Like libel suits and
a
stuff.
civil case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So, Tammy, you bring up some good points because clearly this isn't a research paper to publish in a formal way, given the language he uses in grammar.
Right.
No judgment, just saying. As a research paper, I think I would have followed some rules. Well, now we know she gives her not psychosocial. She did her evaluation of Zach.
Right. She did a psychiatric evaluation on Zach.
Right.
And found no like narcissistic personality traits and things like that.
So she is.
Yeah, and I guess she did like somehow she got the information about the lady's psychological, psychiatric history.
That might have been part of the court documents. Maybe part of the court documents. Although you would think that some of that would have been redone. I guess I don't know. You think medical history would have been sealed? Zach, I think this is a layman's release before an academic paper was to be released, and it could be. And she was very excited about it.
Oh, that's interesting.
She was very excited about it. But now here's the question that I have. Okay, was this more about exposing the assholes in the tabletop? And if you're offended by me saying tabletop, I'm sorry, but there are tabletop and computer. If you like, you won't have to say CRPG and TTRPG because you got to explain. But the tabletop RPG community, right? Is she trying to expose the assholes and expose cancel culture within the community, or is her primary goal rehabilitating Zach Smith? Because pretty early on, it turns into the Zach Smith story. And again, I'm not saying he doesn't need rehabilitation. I'm not
the crucifixion.
I'm not saying that he wasn't accused of horrible stuff that was never proven, not even accused of in a criminal court. Zach, Zach thinks the academic paper may not be released at this point. Who knows? Tabletop reporting. I'm triggered by you using tabletop. Yeah, I know. RPG grandma. Well, there are jerks in every big group of people. Yes, but so we don't know why she pulled this as fast as she pulled this. However, the other thing, and I think that she hints at this in the paper, is that she kind of feared that the reason why she was revealing her background and revealing the background of every subject or every, I don't call them witnesses, whatever, every abuser, the real abusers in this case, was that she actually seems like she feared being on that side of cancellation with releasing this, and it's quite possible that she was.
That's probably why she took it back down.
She probably got harassed.
Yeah.
She probably had nasty grams sent to her, potentially anonymously, but maybe not. She may have had people who, again, I was saying earlier that there was stuff here that could be potentially shaky ground if you admitted to it in a civil court, but it could be that she put herself in civil court jeopardy by sharing some of what these people said without their permission. I don't know. So, it is a very convoluted thing. So I can tell you that I am going to go through this. I'm going to pull pieces out. I'm going to most likely not use the actual names of any of these harassers. So I'm not going to go through the full document and just read it out loud. I'm going to go through bits and pieces that I find to be probably the most upsetting, that people would do this.
I have a hard time believing that like these people answer questions the way they answer questions.
Well, we're gonna hear.
I don't know
I'm gonna
that
hear.
it's like she did it with some like bad intent, to them.
I when you read some of what she seems to be in shock that these people would actually answer. And
well, you know what it is, because they were that. She's showing us that they were that. Empowered is not the word. They were then emboldened to say that because it worked for them.
True.
So maybe that's what she's trying to show.
Anon Alderlin. All things considered, I think the university telling them to pull it is more likely. You know what?
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that, but
wow.
Yeah. Like I said, it went up as quickly as it went down as quickly as it went up. She was shocked that so many didn't want to be anonymous, as I assume she asked each of them if they wanted to be. Yeah.
Well, and then I also think, oh, it was just on the internet and it's all over, and no problem.
Everybody knows what I did. Yeah, but they don't know that you lied when you did it. You knew you were lying.
Right. I don't think most people go into the, try to support things based on lies. And if it's based on lies, they're like, oh shit, what did I do here?
Because that's where my mouth was dropping open. They would go, well, yeah, you called you said somebody was, it was like abusing was that something to do with like children?
Oh, it was one of the ladies or one of the individuals had said that Zach or someone close to Zach had threatened the lives of their children.
Their children. Yeah, it never happened. And they would put in a question. No, it never happened.
Yeah. She said, I was totally lying about that.
Yeah. So, I mean,
how?
So, I'd love to, it's going to be, I'm not going to be the only one covering this. I'm sure Grim Jim's going to be covering it, James Desborough, and others. Like I said, part of me wants to understand, because this is a sickness. This is an illness that lying about people is justified because, I don't know, any reason. I can't think of any reason.
Just pulling some lie out of your ass like that.
Yeah. It's
and then you roll with it and like, okay, great, and you just let it go.
Yeah. It would be like a cop planting evidence on somebody because that guy was he mouthed off on the street at me. He was an asshole. So I made sure the next day when I tossed him, I made sure that I had some drugs in my hand so I could put it in his pocket and pull it out and go, what's this? So, it's like, and then you do that and you would admit to it on the internet. It's like, and I did that. That was me. I was like, I can't believe that these people are so stupid. I mean, honestly, the first thing that I was taught in the academy is you don't talk to the press.
I think that's more like the emboldened feelings, about doing that. And we can do it to anyone.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
There's no repercussions. What is anybody going to do to us? Well, they're gonna be very surprised, I think. Let's see. Tammy, I assumed she put the article up and then took it down, but we all know that if it is on the internet for 1 second, it will live forever.
And maybe that was part of the intention. She put it up and brought it down, and
And she knew it. It was well, no, because she wrote it with the way that she definitely wanted it read. She was.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't like written by anonymous.
Mm.
You know. Tammy and Cal agreed, but I don't know how you study the hobby for the past 4 years without running into a certain someone. It's a giant rabbit hole. The folks who lie about others want to cause harm or win at any cost.
Yes,
It's
that's
about
the
power
thing.
and dominance at any cost. Now, here's
Yeah,
the thing.
that's the thing.
And-
That's the issue.
Right. Zach was a very influential individual, and he could, in theory, make or break careers in the RPG industry if you were trying to get in with a company that he was associated with. The theory was, well, if Zach's on your side and vouching for you, you're in. And it seems like a lot of people, the moment that Zach was accused of improprieties, were happy they didn't have to essentially kiss his ass anymore. Again, there's a lot of this, oh, thank God I don't have to deal with this asshole anymore. I can say whatever I want about him. They're going to have to believe me. Well, it all comes out in the wash in the end.
Yep. But don't come out in the wash, come out in the rinse.
It must be true because I read on the internet. Exactly. To Cal, Tammy, my theory is that she pursued a certain group, her own LGBT group. I was saying that same thing too. Like I said before.
Yeah, you're saying that's how maybe she
got in,
got comfort,
got into the comfort zone. I'm one of you.
Yeah, that's what she gained their confidence.
I understand completely. It isn't easy being. It's hard enough being a girl in gaming, let alone a lesbian, let alone a trans. I understand.
She never had any involvement in gaming before. Like
not that I know.
Not a role player.
We don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. She must have been at least tangentially
somehow
part of it because she knew enough.
Yeah.
So she needed a way to get into people's barriers. People put up barriers, and people should instinctively be putting up barriers when somebody wants to ask you about your own misdeeds. All right, that should be natural. So she got past that. I'm looking forward to listening to the interviews. Graham's video is about 15 minutes long. I haven't listened to it yet.
The audio that should be really telling,
because it'll tell you what kind of, is she talking to them like an interviewer, or is she talking to them like a friend or somebody at the bar? We having a casual conversation. Because it's that casual conversation that she's working the connection. Listen, cops do it too. You find something in common with your subject when you're interviewing them. Hey, I noticed your high school.
Well, that's something that we learn. Engagement. Right. Engagement is something that you have to do it. And she's a psychotherapist, so of course she would have skills to engage people.
Yeah. Tom, is it possible this could be a hoax? Tabletop says if it smells like a fish, something must be fishy. I think it's real enough. Although, again, I have a lot of people not questioning the story, questioning the motive. Now, Tammy.
Yeah, Tammy too.
Says she said she was looking for a break during the pandemic after working in prisons with heavy stuff. But to come to the RPG community and to find Zach means that you had to have some prior knowledge to it. In the pandemic, maybe she got picked up on gaming at that point. I don't know. Interruption quote for the article. Say what you want about violent offenders I interviewed during my days working in the prison system. They at least had reasons.
Yes, I remember her saying that in the article.
Now, that being said, yes, they had reasons, But many of them won't give you a reason. They're going to tell you, I didn't do it. I was railroaded.
Well, that too. Yeah.
All right. So the difference here is these people aren't denying what they did. They're actually almost bragging about what they did.
Yes.
And, that is pretty much being, yeah, I'm guilty.
Mm.
Grandma, I'm tired of the OSR being targeted as the only group in tabletop RPGs with these issues. As I have noticed, lots of Adam Henrys in a group of the hobby in general. Yeah, there are assholes in that.
Oh.
Yeah, you can curse, Grandma. I do. But here's
I
the
was like,
thing.
who's Adam Henry? And then
Okay, here's the thing. You gotta, if you read the article, these people that generally tried to destroy Zach were not, for the most part, aren't OSR people. These are indie gamers. These are, was it the thirsty lesbian sword women writers and stuff like that. So these aren't people in the OSR. They might be OSR adjacent, but they're not in the OSR. They wouldn't consider themselves OSR. But Zach walked these circles because Zach was a larger than life personality for a lot of these people. So,
Zach was kind of a crossover, kind of.
Yeah.
He was riding both of those lines.
Yeah. So I mean, Zach's been accused of being a conservative.
Huh.
I mean, by these people in like this group, and Zach is a conservative. Is like an oxymoron, right? I don't think that works. Yeah, Tammy, the author has taken the side of certain types, not a good sign. Yeah, no, definitely. Her interviews are fairly exclusive with the alt left and not a right wing on a bunch. What kind of research is that? Well, I again.
Is it that obvious when you come in here? This bunch is right. This bunch is left.
Well, no, but I think it's obvious when you have the people that she interviewed. You can see that they're all progressive /
right.
left.
But would she know about other voices? Would she have found other voices?
Well, here's the thing: she would have found other voices. Actually, I know she found other voices because they weren't. There are people that were interviewed for this article. I know of at least one. And I know of the person. They were fairly influential in the hobby. Less so now. They've kind of less active, but they were interviewed early on, and I wouldn't necessarily call them right or left. I would call them pretty much apolitical. And apparently, they weren't interesting enough because they get no mention in this. Now, it could be that she only wanted the people who had issues with Zach that weren't going to say, oh, well, he's a gaslighter who deletes comments. She maybe wanted to avoid that because, like I said, the article has, in my
definite slant.
Yeah. And part of that slant is the rehabilitation of Zach's image. Suspect identified himself as Adam Henry. Thank you, RPG Grandma. I've been accused of everything at some point or another. Again, RPG Grandma. Anon Aderlin. If it's a hoax, we'll know soon enough, as any number of people could blow the lid on it. I don't believe it's a hoax, because if it's a hoax, then Zach Smith would be a part of the hoax, and Zach's a smart guy. I might not like the man, but he is a very smart individual, and that would be a foolish hand to play. She says this about Fiona. I suspect Fiona was constantly passing on the sort of misinformation she did in our interviews, simply because she thought about Smith so often that she could no longer remember where she heard anything. Then she said She did not have the moral sense that she should check some of these claims before talking to someone and doing a study and recording her. Whoa, 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 whoa. She did not have that. So Fiona said it. I don't have any sense that I should check on these claims before talking to someone, doing a study, and recording me. She found some really low hanging fruit. Okay, I don't mean to insult any of the low hanging fruit. I don't mean to insult any low hanging fruit. The only time that we pick fruit in our backyard, it's got to be low hanging because I can't reach it further. But I mean, this is
Sometimes the neighbors will get a pole and
yeah,
get it down and give it to us like the figs.
yeah. So then she goes, "Sorry, everyone." But when she says, "When I said I was a researcher, they did not understand that researcher really what a researcher really does."
Mm.
Well, you know what? Maybe they thought they were being interviewed by Polygon. Okay, maybe they thought that uh, my good friends at Polygon who just wanted an even article, we're gonna go out there and maybe they thought if it was Polygon, then it would be a hit piece against Zach,
Um,
and it was anything but a hit piece. You know, I don't know these people that she interviewed. I know of them. I've seen their names in conversations, and especially in the G Plus days. And it, if you are going to be that much of a follower without any independent thought, you should. These are people that shouldn't be allowed to cast a vote. There's no cognitive bits in their head. What's a researcher? I write role playing games, but what's a researcher? Do you like research games?
is it market research?
So you're a social worker. So you do social media. Oh my God, this is great.
Some social something.
This is great. Wait, you're a doctor of social media. Can you give me a prescription? Because I got anxiety. I
need
uh, Tom, go ahead and insult away. They could use the press.
Xanax.
Cal, I don't trust this rambling word style of an article or its author. I'm not saying trust it.
Wow.
I'm not saying trust it, but you should read it.
Yeah.
You should read it.
We're not taking it.
I'm not taking. I'm not taking it.
The final authority on
Right.
anything.
I'm not taking it at necessarily face value.
Okay.
And I am certainly saying that the author had some
Definite biases.
and I think she had a preordained finding that she was looking to find and looking to come to and trying to get the evidence that would get her there.
Which is a problem sometimes with this type of research.
Yeah.
It's
kind of like being handed a case folder.
Because it's not like a double blind.
No. But it's like being handed a case folder where you're told, all right, so I expect you to find this case to be substantiated. Well, I haven't done the research yet. Well, find me the evidence that's going to substantiate this accusation against this member of the service. But that's not finding the truth. Now, I was always taught you follow the truth. And that meant that sometimes the asshole, you're like, wow, this cop is a piece of shit. But he didn't do what they're accused of. And sometimes it meant that, this guy is really good. Oh, but he did. He did it. Well, you know what? Hopefully the trial room treats him well, and he doesn't. That moment of stupidity, whatever. So I believe that she came into this and she knew where she was going with this paper. She knew what she wanted to find. The question is, did she leave evidence that would have contradicted some of this out of the case? It's inconvenient. It's an inconvenient truth. We don't want that. Leave it behind.
Oh, you're thinking she didn't look for what?
Well, again, I know people that weren't used in this article,
Yeah.
so that were interviewed. So, Grandma, I did a behavior modification unofficial study on school principals and staff to see if the bus drivers could change behavior toward us. We even did 3 groups. It was fun since all the stuff had psychology degrees and all the other staff had psychology degrees, and we don't. Cal, when I was in high school, grade school, most of the bus drivers were World War II vets. Well, then I guess they keep on moving and no stopping. Totally proved we could modify their behavior without them knowing.
Right. Motivational enhancement.
Adamant here. The audio recordings are available on another YouTube channel. Yes, Grim Jim's channel. When I wrap this up and after I get a chance to relax for a few minutes, I'm going to make sure that today's earlier video is linked, that the article is linked if you haven't read it yet. And if it's not linked here, it's linked on today's earlier video. And I'm going to link Grim Jim's YouTube video where he shares the audio. I haven't even had a chance to. I only found it he had it up, realized it at around 7. I commented on it, but I haven't had a chance to listen to it. I said, tell Grim, keep up the good work. Grim has been really good on keeping on top of this stuff. Tammy, okay, finished it. It does say the author removed the article. Research is more than just asking questions.
Right.
Grim Jim reads it on his other channel. I'm only partway through it. It's over 2 hours. Read it yourself. It's a lot easier on you. Although I love Jim. Let him play in the background. Give him the views.
Yeah.
Hey, honest assholes are a necessity to get something done. Yes, yes, they are. Tammy, people are asked questions in a court of law and lie about all the time in the face of being held in contempt. Yes.
Yeah.
So the fact that these people are implicating themselves in, I don't want to say nefarious, but an improper activity regarding lying about an individual, knowingly lying about, not submitting mistruths, but knowingly lying about an individual to get them canceled. I don't know what incentive she did to people who go, hey, I'm going to be writing this article. Do you want to be part of it? Well, actually, it took her 4 years to do this. So maybe she didn't think she was going to do it as an article at first. And then it's like, I can't let this go to waste. This could be my chance to break into maybe I can get a job at Polygon. I can be famous.
I don't know about that.
All right. You can be, holy shit, that was stupid. You could be that too. Elementary, you're welcome.
Is Polygon that big?
Polygon is it's gotten less influential over the years. So I don't know how big it is now.
Mm-hmm.
It was fairly big within not that big. Mm-hmm. Okay, it was larger because it covered computer and console games.
Oh.
And the tabletop games was always less a part of it. Zach G says Polygon is trash. Oh God. My good dear friend Cecilia was very upset with me when I talked about the list of questions that she
was not from that.
Cecilia, yeah.
She was from the
from the other one. Kotaku. Yeah, the same shit. You're right, though. Yeah, it's the same bullshit. Kotaku. You're right. That was Kotaku, but actually, they might be the same parent company. I'm not even sure anymore. Tom, I'm going to say this as I have a lot of recent experience with alts. She has only 19 followers on Twitter and now on the 20th. Smells like a new X account to me. Cal, I feel like I just read a National Enquirer. Looks like an alien baby with 3 heads. Like I said, I know someone now. I wasn't told this directly, but my source is pretty damn impeccable, and he says he spoke with X, who I certainly know of, and they said they were interviewed for this like 3 or 4 years ago. I guess when she started.
Oh wow!
So, and he felt that he wasn't included because he wasn't exciting enough.
Hmm.
His stories were kind of like, yeah. And maybe people wanted to get included because, hey. Now, I will say somebody else, and I don't know if I can name, I didn't actually read the full message. Oh, I got my phone charging, so hold on. Hold on a second. Let me read the message. I'm not gonna say who it was from. I can't really find anything on that Dr. Cleo Bella Weissman other than one paper that seems to imply she's not a fan of feminism. She also refers to the bevy of hipster feminist women Zach and Mandy lived with.
Mm.
So, and that's from an impeccable source. So, she appears to be a legit individual. Doesn't appear to be. And listen, 45 pages to write under a pen name or fake name as an alt account. It's relatively well written, and certainly somebody who has knowledge in the field.
Yes.
Um,
I mean, and it's social workers,
no social workers when they read it.
right? And they're not as prolific in terms of research papers often as like doctors, other types of things.
Yeah.
Anon.
However, the author is not to be trusted for the same reason that none of the people they mention are to be trusted, because they're part of the same circular firing squad, or at least were. Archie Grandma, better sampling and oversight to questions needed, I'm sure. Well, yeah, this was not a random survey. This is not a random sampling. This was a curated list.
Batch of people.
This is a curated batch of people that were going to fulfill the requirements of this paper, or whatever you want to call it, this essay. And the requirement of that essay was to give a nice little whitewash to Zach Smith, which, again, he was accused of stuff he didn't do. And he should be clear to that. And I'm happy with that. But at least don't gaslight the rest of the world and tell us he's not an asshole. All right? But be that as it may. Cal, I'm sure I never met any of those mentioned. So I am marked safe. Well, thank you. Academia has been producing some crap research and thesis papers recently, some 100% fake even, with no research done, like the word meat makes you violent paper. Well, fake meat makes me extremely annoyed. So here's the thing. With AI, ChatGPT, there's going to be people writing fake articles. And I suspect, take this for what it's worth, but I suspect that the reason why she included audio on the initial posting of this is because she expected people to go, I never said that. Prove it.
That's
and that's
it's a
why,
receipt.
Right. So that's why the audio is included. And that's why the audio, I think, is important. So, like I said, after we settle in, after we log out, we're gonna listen to the audio. It might put me to sleep. God knows. But all right. So wow, it's like a bonus. Not only did I do a bonus video earlier, it is now 9:30.
Oh.
God help us. All right, folks. So tomorrow's video, couldn't tell you what it's going to be about, but excuse me.
This could be tomorrow.
We'll see tomorrow. This could be part of the topics. Other than that, thank you all. Very great, fun room tonight. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a cool discussion.
So, as always, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well.
Take good care.
We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. Rach may be back in the background.
It depends.
It depends what's going on, or she'll be shopping. Oh.
No, probably not.
That's right. We got company coming over.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to be home for most of football. I think starts at 4:30.
Oh, it starts at 4:30.
Yeah. It's only 2 games. It's
Yeah.
the AFC and the NFC Championship.
Yeah. That should be good.
Yeah. So, All right, folks. On that note, I'll catch you later.
Thanks again.
Be good.